A new draft peace proposal connected to efforts to end Russia's war in Ukraine includes a striking element. Ukraine could formally enter the European Union as soon as January 1, 2027. According to individuals who have been briefed on the plan, this accelerated timeline has support from officials in Brussels and has been presented to the United States. The proposal is a reworked version of ideas previously pushed by the Trump administration. Earlier U.S. drafts had been viewed by Kyiv and several European capitals as favoring Russia. But the latest version has been adjusted through discussions with Ukrainian and European representatives. These negotiations come as former U.S. President Donald Trump increases pressure on President Volodymyr Zelensky to agree to a peace framework by the end of the year. European officials familiar with Ukraine's membership path say the European Commission now recognizes that resisting a fast-tracked accession could jeopardize the peace talks. However, the proposed 2027 entry date would dramatically disrupt the EU's long-standing, merit-based system for new members. Ukraine has not yet completed any of the more than 30 chapters required in the EU's official accession process, steps that normally take several years. If adopted, the proposal would force the EU to rethink its enlargement rules, including how quickly a new member gains access to funding, institutions, and voting rights. Some analysts argue that full membership by early 2027 is extremely unlikely, but the commitment itself could energize the process and force major innovation within the bloc. For Ukraine to join the EU, all 27 member states must approve. One of the biggest obstacles has been Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, who has repeatedly blocked or delayed decisions related to Ukraine's application. However, U.S. support for the peace plan could give Washington leverage to persuade Budapest to lift its veto. Speaking in Kyiv, President Zelensky said that the success of Ukraine's EU bid ultimately relies on both Europe and the United States. He suggested that if the U.S. becomes a direct party to a binding agreement on the timing of Ukraine's membership, it could help prevent any European government from obstructing the process. Ukraine applied for EU membership immediately after Russia's full-scale invasion in February 2022 and was granted candidate status 4 months later. Recently, the EU's Enlargement Commissioner suggested that future member states might be admitted under a probationary period, with the possibility of suspension if democratic standards slip. Meanwhile, Trump announced that U.S. diplomats will participate in an upcoming weekend meeting with European and Ukrainian officials